Welcome, dear yogis and yoginis. We're going to talk a little bit today about a certain aspect of yoga philosophy. Okay? As most of you know, yoga is not just a physical practice, but that it's a practice of body, mind, and spirit. And yoga has a very ancient and rich and deep spiritual heritage and philosophical heritage. It's very important to understand the philosophy as a yogic practitioner. So we understand that it's not just limited to the practice of the body, the physical practice, but that there's a very deep philosophy that we can incorporate into our day-to-day life and gain benefit and be able to live a more peaceful and harmonious life. That's really the purpose of the philosophy. I do believe that spiritual philosophy needs to be practical, needs to be able to be used in our day-to-day life to really have significance. You know, if it's just an idea up here, it's great, lovely, but we can't use it. So what I'd like to speak about today is a practice we call upeksha. And upeksha means equanimity, means the practice of equal-mindedness, which can be a great challenge in our day-to-day life. We have many challenges in our day-to-day life. Are we able to stay calm? Are we able to keep our repose in the midst of life's challenges, day-to-day challenges? Okay. One of my teachers talked about it, the difference between reacting and responding. Okay, so in a situation in your life, say your boss is yelling at you, and you can either get all upset and crumble, or you could just take a few deep breaths and practice equanimity. Okay, not getting attached to the outcome of it being a certain way, but being able to center yourself in your own inner calm in all circumstances. Now, a very helpful practice on this is called a 7-second window. So that when you're getting upset or somebody's upsetting you or your buttons are getting pushed, you take 7 seconds before you respond back to that person. Okay? Because oftentimes when somebody's criticizing you or blaming you for something, it's easy to just get reactive, right, back to that person. But the practice of upeksha is a mindful practice that we think about how do I want to respond in this situation, rather than just automatically reacting emotionally to a situation. But it's a practice of having a few seconds there of time to choose how can I respond in this situation to bring about harmony, to bring about more peace or resolution in this situation, rather than just adding to the situation and it escalates into more conflict, right? So this practice of upeksha I have found personally to be one of the most meaningful and valuable practices for me in my day-to-day life, Like today, one of the faculty members had mentioned something and I just, it was a little bit harsh, and I saw, okay, you have an opportunity to take a breath and just let it ride. But, I noticed that I was kind of upset for a moment, but then I chose to just take a breath and to come to that place of equanimity. So it really is an ongoing practice, throughout the day. Particularly for those of us living in urban environments, there are many factors that can be irritating to us, right? And so we have this opportunity to practice our equipoise, our equanimity. One more thing on this is one of my teachers said years ago, you know how far you've developed in your yoga practice by the level of equanimity you can maintain in your day-to-day life, right? So a lot of people think, well, now I can get my foot behind my head, so I'm a great yogi, And that's really not the depth of what this practice is about. It's becoming a master of your mind and your body, It's learning how to master the mind. And upeksha is one of these practices that can help us in gaining more control, more mastery over the mind. So rather than just reacting and losing it, we actually take a moment and we think, how do I want to respond in this situation, okay? And that takes mindfulness. That takes a few moments, right, to just say, okay, just hold off here for a moment. That's why the 7-second window of time is so good, that you actually take 7 seconds before you respond. I found that to be a great practice, It just gives you enough of a window of time that you don't go into your automatic way of reacting in situations, you know. So I give this practice to you to take into your day-to-day life and see what happens, you know. I always say you don't have to believe me, but just practice and see how it works for you, you know. That's how I learned what was valuable to myself from my teachers, you know. It was like, practice it in my life and see what works. You know, what's a good tool to take with me in my life, you know. And this has been one of those tools. So I offer it to you with great joy. And, you know, in San Francisco, you'll have a lot of opportunity to practice. Namaste. Namaste.